Silence or rise. The Supreme Court of Queensland is in session. Any person having business before the court, come forward, announce your presence and you will be heard. Please be seated.
We join today to farewell Justice Philippides after her Honour's 2-decade career on the bench of the Supreme Court of Queensland. To join in the ceremony, we welcome His Excellency, the Governor, the Honourable Paul de Jersey, Justices Collier and Derrington of the Federal Court, the Chief Judge and Judges of the District Court, Judge Vasta of the Federal Circuit Court, the Chief Magistrate and Deputy Chief Magistrate Gett, the President of the Land Court, the Vice President of the Industrial Court, and retired members of this bench. And at the bar table, of course, I acknowledge the Honourable Attorney General, Shannon Fentiman, the President of the Bar Association, Mr Sullivan, the President of the Law Society, Ms Shearer. In the audience, we welcome Mr Nichols, the Shadow Attorney General, legal practitioners, departmental officers, including the Director General and Deputy Director General, members of the Academy and members of the public. And, of course, most importantly, we are joined for the occasion by some of Her Honour's family members, her daughter Lily in person, and also by video link, her mother, Mrs Joanna Philippides, her sister Athena, and her son Tom. Many other friends of Her Honour's are also invited guests today. I note in particular the presence of Her Excellency Ms Mavramati, the High Commissioner for the Republic of Cyprus. And as well, 7 of Her Honour's former associates are seated in the front row, and there are others on video link. And there are also present in person a number of other young people for whom Her Honour has provided mentorship. The ceremony is being streamed to courts in Rockhampton, where Justice Crowe is joining us, Cairns, Townsville and Maroochydore. And in addition, a number of Her Honour's guests are joining us by video link. There are many apologies which are too numerous to list in full, but I mention in particular Chief Justice Kiefel and Justices Keane and Edelman of the High Court, who had prior commitments which prevented their being here, Justices Fraser, Morrison, McMurdo, Applegarth, Henry, North, Brown, Callaghan and Williams of this court, all of whom I'm sure would wish to be associated with my remarks, and Justices Greenwood, Logan, Rangier, Thomas and Justice Sarah Derrington of the Federal Court. Former Justices Margaret Wilson and Robert Gottison of this court particularly asked for their apologies to be noted, as did the Solicitor General, Mr Thompson. Now, this day is about Justice Philippides, but I hope Her Honour will forgive me if I also speak briefly about an absence from today's ceremony. Retired Judge of this court, the Honourable William Lee, has been present at almost every ceremonial occasion since his retirement, including last year's Christmas greetings. Sadly, His Honour died last month. He's remembered with great affection by many of us on the bench and in the profession. Bill was a kindly man and a meticulous and extraordinarily hard-working judge. Over his judicial career, from his appointment as First Master of the Supreme Court of Queensland in 1980, during his tenure as a judge of the court from February 1989 until his retirement in April 1999, he rendered sterling service to the law. It is a matter of great sadness to look at the front left-hand side of the court and not see Bill here for the occasion. But of course now I turn to Justice Philippides, whose judicial career has been of similar length to Justice Lee's. First I'll go back a little though. Her Honour early demonstrated a flair for matters multicultural, winning the French Prize at Somerville House. Interestingly, her decision to study law was influenced by the now President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Sofronoff, who spoke at the school about his career as a barrister. That resulted in Her Honour's choice to enrol in an arts law degree at Queensland University. It seems peculiarly fitting, then, that Her Honour should have spent the last years of her judicial career on the bench over which Justice Sofronoff now presides. Justice Philippides excelled in her studies, winning a university medal in law and a Commonwealth scholarship to undertake a Master of Laws degree at Cambridge. Returning to Queensland to practice at the bar, she joined the select few practicing in the very specialist area of maritime law. She was the first woman president of the Maritime Law Association of Australia and New Zealand and was appointed to a number of bodies, including the board of the Port of Brisbane Corporation. She also established and taught the first maritime law course in Queensland as an adjunct professor at the Bond University Law School. Her Honour became senior counsel in December 1999 and a year later a judge of the Supreme Court of Queensland. As Her Honour has mentioned in speeches in the past, she was the first woman born to immigrant parents to be appointed as a judge of a superior court in Australia and also then of an appellate court. As a judge of the trial division, Her Honour served as a member of the Land Appeal Court. In 2006, she was appointed to the Mental Health Court, which at that time was expanded from one judge to two, making Her Honour its inaugural president. She was also a member and chair of the Bench Book Committee, which provides important guidance on directions to juries in criminal cases. In December 2014, Justice Philippides was appointed as a judge of the Court of Appeal, and in that role has continued to contribute to the work of the court as she did in the trial division. In addition to her long and remarkable judicial career, Her Honour is well known for her contribution to the community through her many extrajudicial activities. I had mentioned Her Honour's multicultural interests. Prior to her appointment, Her Honour served as Honorary Vice-Consul for Cyprus for over a decade. In recent years, she has taken on the demanding role of Queensland Patron of the Hellenic Australian Lawyers Association. Her Honour has a strong interest in the arts. The work A Woman's Place records that it was engendered by her parents, who were inaugural members of the Queensland Art Gallery Foundation. It extends to music. She is a director of Musica Viva Australia. And Her Honour has, as is well known, been an outstanding mentor of Indigenous students and lawyers and a supporter of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander moot competition. More recently, Her Honour has combined her philanthropic and cultural activities. In 2017, Her Honour established the Music and the Arts Circle to provide free access to the arts to Indigenous students and young professionals. In 2019, she assisted in establishing and became patron of the Brisbane chapter of Legal Forecast Creative and L'Orchestra Q, which promotes mental well-being and social inclusion for young lawyers through music. Justice Philippides, the members of the court wish you well on your retirement. We have no doubt you will continue to be active elsewhere with your philanthropic work, and we wish you the best in those endeavours. Madam Attorney General.
May it please the Court, I would like to respectfully acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we gather today, the Turrbal and Yagara people, and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. And I echo the many acknowledgements made by the Chief Justice and extend my welcome to His Excellency, the Governor, judicial officers, representatives and members of the legal profession and the family and friends of the Honourable Justice Anthe Philippides. I acknowledge the privileged position I find myself in today to reflect on the inspiring career of a judicial officer and to express the community's gratitude. It is indeed a great honour. The Honourable Justice Anthe Philippides has been a trailblazer in so many regards. Her Honour has made no secret of the fact that she had wonderful role models in the form of her parents, Ioana and Constantine, or Dino as he was more well known. Both of her parents were born in Cyprus before moving to Australia, where they worked incredibly hard to give Her Honour and her sister Athena every opportunity in life. Her Honour's parents, both successful in business, managing a family home, but also in community and charity endeavours, were no doubt an inspiration. Her Honour went on to become the first woman of Hellenic heritage to be admitted as a barrister in Queensland and to attain silk in Australia. And she was appointed a judge of the Supreme Court of Queensland in December 2000 and a judge of the Court of Appeal in December 2014. They were the first appointments in Australia to a superior court and an appellate court, respectively, of a female lawyer of immigrant parents. Her Honour, as we've heard, has served as President of the Land Appeal Court of Queensland and as a judge and inaugural President of the Queensland Mental Health Court. Her Honour served for over a decade as a member and chair of the Committee of the Supreme and District Court's Criminal Bench Book. Her Honour was awarded the top prizes at the University of Queensland Law School, and her outstanding first-class honours degree was further enhanced by receiving the prestigious University Medal in Law. And perhaps not surprisingly, Her Honour became the first female law graduate of the University of Queensland to obtain a Commonwealth scholarship to undertake postgraduate legal studies abroad when the British Council selected her to read for a Masters of Law degree at Cambridge. Whilst at Cambridge, Her Honour undertook a course that mainly dealt with maritime law, a subject that was not taught anywhere in Queensland when she returned home. Through her specialisation in maritime law, Her Honour was elected Queensland Chair of the Maritime Law Association of Australia and New Zealand in 1989. In 2000, Her Honour was elected the first female President of the Maritime Law Association of Australia and New Zealand, a traditionally male-dominated body. On her appointment to the Supreme Court, Her Honour resigned as Honorary Vice-Consul for Cyprus, having served the Cypriot community in Queensland for almost 13 years. And 2 years ago, Her Honour established a scholarship program that gives Queensland graduates the opportunity to pursue postgraduate studies at Cambridge University. Now, it is reported that as a young graduate about to embark on her career in 1984, Her Honour told a newspaper that nowadays people judge you on your performance. When we consider the 37 years since then, the people could award Her Honour nothing less than a perfect score. May it please the Court.
Mr. Sullivan.
May it please the Court. It is my privilege to speak on behalf of the Bar Association of Queensland on the occasion of the ceremony for Your Honour Justice Anthe Philippides. I extend particular welcome to your mother, Owana, your children, Tom and Lily, and other members of your family and friends who have been able to join us here today or are attending remotely. Your Honour would be the first to acknowledge that throughout your life you have always had the unwavering support of your family in achieving your various accomplishments. In particular, your late father Dino, your mother Owana, and your sister Athena. Family has always been very important to the Philippides. Your Honour, this ceremony marks the end of your illustrious career spanning more than 36 years, 20 of which you have spent on the bench. Today we acknowledge and thank you for your outstanding commitment to the service of the law, but more broadly to the community at large. I would like to begin by recognising 3 of the firsts that you have achieved throughout your career. Some of them have already been spoken of, but nonetheless I'll go through them. Having graduated with first-class honours and been awarded the University Medal, Your Honour was the first University of Queensland law graduate to be awarded a British Council Commonwealth Scholarship for a Master of Law degree at Cambridge University. I note that this particular scholarship is not now offered. Last year, in honour of your late father, you established a Cambridge Australia Scholarship in Queensland for postgraduate study in law out of your own resources. It will continue to be offered each year to Australians to complete Masters and PhD studies at the University of Cambridge. As chance would have it, the first recipient of that scholarship was a person of non-European background with an interest in public law and international human rights. Your Honour would have noted this award with satisfaction. Your Honour was also the first woman of Hellenic heritage to be admitted as a barrister in Queensland in 1984 and to attain silk in Australia in 1999. Your Honour's appointment to the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal marked the first appointment in Australia to a superior court and an appellant court respectively of a woman lawyer of immigrant parents, your parents having emigrated from Cyprus. Your Honour is proud of your Cypriot heritage, and I'll come to that a bit later. You were called to the bar in 1984 and were appointed senior counsel in 1999. Your practice as a barrister was in commercial law with a specialty in admiralty and maritime law. Your deep interest, knowledge and experience in this area is evident, having been a past Vice President and then President of the Maritime Law Association of Australia and New Zealand, and serving on many state and federal maritime bodies. Your Honour was also a member of the Advisory Committee to the Australian Law Reform Commission review of the Marine Insurance Act 2000, and you were a member of the Commonwealth Admiralty Rules Committee. While at the bar, Your Honour served on the Bar Association of Queensland University Liaison Subcommittee, but more importantly, the Human Rights and Equal Opportunities Subcommittee. You're also a member of the Equalising Opportunities in the Law Committee of the Law Council of Australia and on the Steering Committee of the Aboriginal English in the Courts project, established by the Department of Justice and Attorney General, which resulted in the production of the Aboriginal English in the Courts Handbook. In 2000, Your Honour was appointed Judge of the Supreme Court of Queensland. 14 years later, you were elevated to the role of Judge of the Court of Appeal, a position you have held for the last 7 years. Your Honour has also served as a President of the Land Court of Appeal of Queensland and as a Judge and inaugural President of the Queensland Mental Health Court. Aside from your obvious skills as a judge, Your Honour is also widely known as a strong advocate for diversity in the law and a mentor of Indigenous students and lawyers. In an address you delivered in 2019, Your Honour stated that diversity extends to all aspects of difference between people and how they identify, including gender, ethnicity, sexuality, age, race, religion, disability and socio-economic status. Your Honour then went on to highlight that the importance of diversity is not simply that all of those of a diverse background benefit from the power of inclusion, but that the legal profession is advanced by each person's involvement, and concepts of justice are enriched and improved. It is also no secret that Your Honour has a passion for inspiring and opening doors for people who wouldn't normally have opportunity. You have for decades sought to promote respect for and recognition of the important place of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples in our nation's historical, cultural and linguistic identity. The themes of encouraging equality of access and support for Indigenous practitioners were reflected in Your Honour's contributions to the profession while you're at the bar. This included establishing a mentoring program for the Bar Association to link law students to barristers and promote greater diversity at the bar, a scheme later adopted by QUT. Your Honour expanded that program to include a particular focus on mentoring Indigenous students in their pursuit to join and then to establish themselves at the bar. Your commitment to inspiring and providing opportunities for young students and lawyers warrants the recognition it deserves. Your Honour substantially involved yourself in community life, both within and outside the legal profession. Your Honour remained close to the bar and its members, and not just for the high-quality gossip. Your Honour always treated those who appeared before you with courtesy and respect. Your Honour is the Queensland patron of the Hellenic Australian Lawyers Association. You are also the patron of the Legal Forecast Creative and of the Law Orchestra Queensland. As we have heard, Your Honour was the Honorary Vice Consul for the Republic of Cyprus in Queensland before you moved to the bench. It no doubt was a matter of pride to you and to your family that you served in that position after your father Dino had previously served for many years in that position. In 2017, Your Honour founded the Music and Arts Circle to provide free access to the arts and social support to Indigenous students and young professionals. Your Honour has also been an active supporter of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander student moot competition. As Your Honour leaves the bench, I'm sure this is not the end of Your Honour's contribution to the larger community. However, there may be more time to enjoy those trips to France, which I'm told Your Honour enjoys. And recently, I'm informed that Your Honour walked part of the French leg of the ancient pilgrim's route, the Way of St James. Perhaps Your Honour will have time to finish the rest of the route. However, I'm also told that Your Honour has an acute fear of heights, so you might skip the Pyrenees. Your Honour, the Bar Association of Queensland and its members thank you sincerely for your service to the court and to the community. We wish you and your family all the best for your future. May it please the court.
Ms. Shearer.
May it please the court. It's a privilege to be here on behalf of the Solicitors of Queensland to celebrate one of the truly inspiring judicial careers in Queensland's legal history. Your Honour has achieved many firsts in your career in the law, and for that reason alone would be an inspiration and a role model for the profession. There are many today who are called role models and influencers, but Your Honour is set apart as a true role model for the next generation of legal practitioners in its full traditional meaning. This is not because of the firsts you have achieved and the roles you have held, but because of how you have chosen to use your success to help ensure the success of others. As we have heard today, Your Honour's accomplishments as a lawyer and a jurist are many and are rightly acknowledged and celebrated. But I would like to acknowledge in particular Your Honour's work to promote diversity and bring equality of opportunity to the legal profession. This work has endured and has become a legacy worthy of note and celebration. Some of this has been very public, by you as a leader at the pinnacle of our profession, lending your support to associations within the profession that promote lawyers from diverse backgrounds. But much of your work has been less public, providing mentoring and support to many individual lawyers from backgrounds that until recently have not been represented in our profession. Your Honour has done much to progress reconciliation with this country's First Nations peoples. This has been at a personal level by your support of clerks and graduates taking their hard-earned place in our profession, and at a systemic and symbolic level. For example, your support of the launch of our inaugural Queensland Law Society Reconciliation Action Plan, and your attendance at our events with a First Nation focus. You have held many prestigious roles during your career, but I would like to draw attention to the humbler roles you have held that have meant so much to the solicitors branch of the profession. For example, Your Honour served as a member of our QLS Symposium Organising Committee. This is not a prestigious nor an exciting role, rather it's a role in service of professional development, and your contribution is greatly appreciated by the Queensland Law Society and our members. Your support of the Society and its endeavours for good law, good lawyers and the public good has been generous and steadfast, and we are grateful to you. Your Honour has not been interested solely in demographic diversity, but in the diversity of pursuits that are the components of a rich intellectual and cultural life in the law. Your Honour's speaking commitments have extended well beyond the mundane. Your topics have included the importance of Indigenous languages, the influence of ancient Greek philosophers on modern legal thought, and the role of music in nourishing the soul, even the souls of busy lawyers. Your patronage of the Legal Forecast Creative exemplifies perfectly Your Honour's passions for art, the profession and empowerment, with its goals to foster collaboration, combat isolation, promote positive mental health, and enable creative and talented legal professionals to pursue musical goals. Your deep care for the profession has always been expressed in doing practical things to lift us all. In your speech in this court on your appointment as an appeal justice, you spoke of the importance of the rule of law and its dependence on both the judiciary, which jealously guards its independence, and the dedicated members of the public who perform jury service. You quoted from Alexis de Tocqueville in his description of the jury system that invests each citizen with a kind of magistracy, and by obliging each to turn their attention to other affairs than their own, it rubs off that private selfishness which is the rust of society. Your honours career has shown that these were not just words and not just for jurors. You have discharged your duties to the court, the profession and the society in a most admirable and positive way, and have never displayed any of the rust of society of which de Tocqueville spoke. There's another quote from de Tocqueville which is apt for this occasion. History is a gallery of pictures in which there are few originals and many copies. Your honour is set apart as one of the few originals, and you have inspired many to copy your example. The Solicitors of Queensland wish you well in the next chapter of your life, and we thank you for your immense contribution to justice in this state. May it please the court.
Justice Philippides.
Chief Justice and my fellow judges, in accordance with the court's protocol, I will not repeat the full list of acknowledgements made by the Chief Justice, other than to note that I am delighted that the Governor of Queensland, His Excellency the Honourable Paul de Jersey AC, is able to be present, and that the High Commissioner of Cyprus, Her Excellency Martha Mavromatis, has travelled from Canberra to be here. And on this final occasion that I sit as part of the bench of the Supreme Court of Queensland, I want to join in respectfully acknowledging the traditional owners and custodians of the lands on which this ceremonial event is held, and elders past, present and emerging. In the journey of our shared future, I want to say, in languages that have been spoken here for millennia, in all that we do, let us be one. In the Turrbal language, Kuna Malara Nalangi, and the Yagara language, Nali Yaga Gunnery. Chief Justice, the Honourable Attorney General, Ms Fentiman, Mr O'Sullivan, President of the Bar Association of Queensland, Ms Shearer, President of the Queensland Law Society, I thank you all for your very kind comments, which perhaps are over-generous, but I won't quibble. I'm very grateful to have this opportunity today to thank the many who have assisted and supported me over the years. In particular, my family, for their tremendous support and love. I'm delighted that my elderly mother, although unable to be here, is able to be a part of today due to our modern technology. My children have been a source of great joy, and I am proud that they have grown to be kind and thoughtful adults. And I'm so glad that despite the constraints of these difficult times, my son in Europe and my sister and her family in America are able to be part of today's ceremony by video link. A central figure in a judge's chambers is the associate. I have been blessed with wonderful associates. I am grateful that those former associates who could attend in person have been afforded a special place here in the Banco Court. And it again is wonderful that other former associates, interstate and overseas, including those in England and Canada, are also able to be part of today, notwithstanding, in some cases, the ungodly hour at their end. I also want to thank my executive secretaries over the years for their dedicated assistance. Carla Lloyd, and for many years now, Karen Ankliff, who have ensured that my chambers have always been a wonderfully supportive and pleasant environment. No one's achievements come without mentors. I owe a lot to two extraordinary school teachers, Pam Davenport and Jill Bridgewood. They are two of the most remarkable women I have met, intelligent, encouraging, broad-minded and kind. They are not able to be present, but I thank them for so much. I also had the great good fortune to study law at the University of Queensland when Dame Quinton Bryce AC taught at the law school. She was a wonderful mentor to me and encouraged me to apply for a scholarship to Cambridge, which I was fortunate enough to receive and which was so formative. When I started at the bar, there were few women in practice and little cultural diversity. And when I was appointed to the Supreme Court in 2000, I was conscious that my appointment marked a factual milestone, which some of you have mentioned today. That is, that I was the first female judge of immigrant parents to be appointed to a superior court in Australia. I knew that as the daughter of Cypriot immigrants and with an unmistakably Greek name, my appointment altered the perception of what a judge might look like. I was aware that my achievement was a source of pride beyond my own family and meant a great deal to the Cypriot and Greek communities of Queensland and elsewhere, and more broadly, that it was significant to those of other cultural backgrounds. At my swearing in, I alluded to that in stating that I hoped my appointment would serve as an encouragement to others that membership of the great institutions of our society may be aspired to by all, no matter the diversity of their backgrounds. Nothing that I have achieved would have been possible without the support of my parents and their example of resilience. At my swearing in as a judge of appeal, I said of them, they came from a generation that in the 50s, with courage and optimism, made a life for themselves in a new country. It was a generation that, when faced with adversity and difficult circumstances, was not disheartened but determined to work even harder to ensure that the opportunities that they themselves did not always enjoy were available to their children. The legal profession has changed greatly over the past 20 years. I know that many amongst the profession here today also have parents or a parent who has travelled to Australia with the same courage and determination as my parents, and that your lived experience means that you can directly appreciate the sentiments that I have expressed. Diversity is a great marker of a healthy institution. The law benefits from hearing voices that are diverse, that stand outside the stereotype, that reject other people's limitations of what a lawyer, a solicitor, a partner, a barrister, a silk, or a judge looks like. At admission ceremonies over the years, I have been very heartened to see increasing gender diversity, but also more recently to see the greater cultural diversity of admittees, and that not infrequently the legal practitioner moving the admission is a family member. And significant strides have been made in the judiciary in terms of gender diversity. While there were no women judges on this court when I entered the legal profession, today I sit as part of a court where the Chief Justice, Justice Mullins, and I, as the three most senior women judges, share over 60 years of combined judicial experience. And I'm delighted that, as it turned out, the three of us have ended up being seated together today. And although I look forward to increased cultural diversity in the judiciary, it has been a privilege to have served on a Court of Appeal whose distinguished president is the son of immigrant parents. It is also wonderful today to see many representatives and members of the Cypriot community, which has always been such an important part of my life, and I'm also delighted to see many representatives and members of the Greek community. I grew up in a family that was very proud of its Hellenic heritage, and it has been a special privilege to be the Queensland patron of the Hellenic Australian Lawyers Association, which has played a vibrant role across Australia in promoting diversity and in the resurgent interest in the legacy of the ancient Greek philosophers and the continuing relevance of Hellenism in our legal system. I also want to acknowledge the importance in the promotion of cultural diversity in the law of the work of organisations such as the Asian Australian Lawyers Association and the Indigenous Lawyers Association of Queensland, who are represented here today and with whom I have been delighted to be involved with. Over the past several years, it has been particularly inspiring to have been a mentor to an increasing number of amazing First Nations law students and lawyers, and I am delighted that many of them are able to be here today. I am incredibly proud of them, and I know that they will play a very important role in the future development of the law. It is very special to me that Auntie Delmay Barton and William Barton are able to be here. I have treasured their friendship over the years. I thank them for their wonderful support of the young lawyers comprising the Legal Forecast Creative and the Queensland Law Orchestra, of whom I am patron, which provide a way to integrate the arts into young lawyers' lives. And of course, many of you will remember William Barton's memorable performance at the Court's 2016 NAIDOC flag-raising ceremony. With the kind agreement of the Chief Justice, after the formal part of today's proceedings are concluded, there will be somewhat of a break from tradition. I am touched and honoured that William Barton will perform a short piece in the Banco Court foyer. It will be a very special part of today's ceremony. I want to thank all those who have worked tirelessly in the preparations for today, especially Janine Mitchell, the Chief Justice's Executive Secretary. It has been a great privilege and honour to serve the people and the state of Queensland as a judge of the Supreme Court. I thank you all for honouring me with your attendance today.
And all are very welcome to the afternoon tea outside the court, where you will hear Mr. William Barton. Let the proceedings be recorded. Adjourn the court.
Silence or rise. The court is adjourned.